Welcome to this Elite Masterclass Explainer. I am your master coach, and today we are turning Cambridge Principal Examiner reports into your ultimate insider playbook for Accounting Paper 2. If you're studying the Cambridge 9706 syllabus, you already know the pain. Mastering the preparation of ledger accounts isn't just about drawing straight lines, plugging in numbers, and praying your columns balance at the end of the exam. It is a highly strategic, deeply analytical exercise. You have to interpret complex business scenarios, apply rigid accounting rules, and do it all against a relentlessly ticking clock. Today, we are stepping into our digital studio to dissect exactly what the examiners are looking for. We're going to look at a high-tariff, 15-mark sample question, and I am going to show you precisely where candidates lose marks. To do this, we need to understand the anatomy of command words. On the interactive board behind me, I want you to visualize a typical exam prompt. When a question asks you to analyze versus evaluate, or explain versus to what extent, they are demanding completely different cognitive skills. Analyze means breaking down the accounting data to show how it works, but evaluate requires you to make a judgment on that data. You have to isolate the command word, identify the specific content knowledge required, and spot the hidden constraints of the prompt. We'll be using real examples from two of my top scholars, Alex and Sam, to show you how this plays out in real time.
Let's dive in.
We are starting off with this massive, unignorable number, 15%. Why does this matter? Because the preparation of ledger accounts makes up roughly 15% of your total marks in Paper 2. This is a high-stakes battleground, my friends. This isn't a peripheral topic you can afford to gloss over. Securing these marks is an absolute foundational pillar of your exam performance and can easily be the difference between jumping up an entire grade boundary or falling behind. But here is the critical part. Earning that full 15% requires total mastery of your assessment objectives. I see students every single year perfectly execute the AO1 knowledge and understanding, but completely faceplant on AO2 application and AO3 analysis and evaluation. If the command word is evaluate and you just list factual double entries, your score is immediately capped. You are bleeding marks not because your math is wrong, but because your strategy is flawed. We are going to fix that today. To guarantee you capture every single mark, our agenda is going to systematically guide you through the exact theoretical foundations, procedural frameworks, and examiner warnings you need to succeed. We will cover the ledger accounts advantage, mastering core principles, the standardized execution framework, critical analysis, and finally, the top 3 examiner traps. Let's keep moving.
Okay, let's dive straight into our first section. We are going to uncover the biggest strategic advantage you can possibly leverage in this exam.
The secret to top scores isn't just arriving at the perfect final number. It's called the method mark strategy. Now, to truly understand this, I want you to imagine we are in a collaborative digital study suite with two of my students, Alex and Sam. We are working on a massive, complex ledger problem. Alex is highly technical, absolutely excels at formulas and facts, but struggles when things get open-ended. Sam, on the other hand, is a creative thinker, strong at arguments, but really struggles with structural precision and timing. So Alex says to me, "Coach, I messed up the initial depreciation calculation on step 1, so my final net book value balance is completely wrong. I should just cross out the whole ledger account, right?" And Sam instantly jumps in. "No, wait, Alex. If you cross it out, you get 0. But if you carry that flawed number down and process the disposal account correctly using the double entry rules, don't you get marks for the process?" Sam is absolutely right. Examiners explicitly reward you for your analytical process through method marks. Multi-stage analysis is incredibly tough. If you make a minor arithmetic error early on, your final balance will inevitably be wrong. But if you demonstrate the correct double-entry logic using that flawed number, examiners will award you method marks for your working. Your ledger account is essentially a roadmap of your logic, and you get rewarded for every correct directional turn you make, even if you started from the wrong coordinates. Never, ever cross out a completed ledger just because you suspect the final number is off. You are literally throwing away guaranteed method marks.
But to deploy that method mark strategy effectively, we have to build a bulletproof foundation. Let's move into our second section, mastering the core principles.
The syllabus is extremely clear. Rote memorization simply won't cut it anymore. Top-performing candidates exhibit a connected, conceptual understanding. Back in our digital study suite, Alex and Sam were having a massive debate over how to tackle an unfamiliar partnership appropriation account. Alex was aggressively pushing for a purely factual approach, arguing, "Look, we just need to memorize the format and plug the numbers in. Interest on capital goes here, salaries go there, boom, done." But Sam pushed back, arguing for a broader conceptual perspective. Sam said, "But Alex, the prompt gave us a scenario where the partnership agreement changed mid-year. We can't just plug in the standard formula. We have to establish the causal relationship between the new agreement and the profit split." This is exactly how you unlock those top-tier marking bands. You have to apply your knowledge to unfamiliar contexts and reference cross-topic connections. The principal examiner reports specifically highlight the candidates who can seamlessly integrate, say, a provision for doubtful debts adjustment into a broader control account scenario, achieve significantly higher marks. It is all about stepping back, looking at the big picture of the business's financial health, and showing the examiner you understand the why behind the numbers, not just the how.
Now, what is really interesting about this next section is how we translate those high-level principles into actual high-speed exam execution. Section 3, the Standardized Execution Framework.
This 6-step sequence is the exact standardized execution framework that examiners expect to see. But right before we solve the hardest part of this execution framework, I need to pause our session for a quick second. If you are serious about crushing your Cambridge exams and want more insider strategies just like this, you need to subscribe to the channel Ace the Exam's IGCS O and A levels. That's at acetheexam_IGCS. Hit that subscribe button right now and make sure you enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so you never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategy. Okay, back to the study suite. Alex and Sam are actively drafting a model response paragraph by paragraph on the screen for a tricky suspense account question. They hit step 4, execution, and suddenly they hit a massive roadblock regarding timing. Alex is spending way too much time writing out full narrative descriptions for every single journal entry, while Sam is rushing and leaving things blank. I use our picture-in-picture feature to pause their session, step in, and explain the cognitive strategy they need to get unstuck. I tell them you have to balance speed with notation. You deconstruct the question first, extract only the data that impacts the suspense account, select your double-entry framework, execute with standard abbreviations to save time, verify the side's balance, and then present. This 6-step flow is your safety net when the exam clock is breathing down your neck.
You cannot afford to lose easy points on presentation. Strict adherence to formatting and terminology is mandatory. Let me show you how Alex and Sam rewrote their flawed section out loud. Initially, Sam wrote P&L as the detail in a ledger account closing entry and used the abbreviation C/D without clearly showing the balance brought down on the next line. I pointed out that this is a mediocre, low-band answer. Sam self-corrected, rewriting it on the screen to explicitly state income statement instead of P&L, ensuring the date was perfectly aligned and clearly writing out the opening balance on the opposite side below the total line. That transition from a sloppy, shorthand response to a flawless, strictly conventional format is exactly what secures the final presentation marks. No matter how brilliant your underlying math might be, if an examiner cannot read your ledger or if you use non-standard casual terminology, those marks are instantly gone.
Once the baseline data is perfectly processed and formatted, we transition to the highest tariff marks in the entire paper, critical analysis and evaluation.
We are now entering our interactive pause and practice visual workshop. I want you to lean in and address this with me directly. For scene 1, imagine I am displaying a complex data set on this screen right now, a messy list of unadjusted trial balance figures with 5 hidden errors. I am putting a 60-second visual countdown timer on the screen. The problem-solving flow requires you to start by identifying the given information and breaking it into logical steps. In that first 60 seconds, you should just be tagging which accounts are assets, liabilities, income, or expenses. In the middle phase, you solve systematically and check for reasonableness. For instance, if your calculated inventory balance suddenly becomes negative, you need to recognize that's physically impossible and go back. But the end phase is what really matters for top marks, making justified recommendations based on evidence. You have to synthesize the timeline, deconstruct the problem, solve it, and then evaluate the business impact. Now for scene 2 of our workshop, Spot the Flaw. I want you to visualize a poorly written student answer on the board. The student has written, "The business should use the straight-line depreciation method because it is easier to calculate." I am systematically highlighting that sentence in red right now. Can you spot the flaw? It lacks any evaluative thinking. As this brilliant quote from the Principal Examiner report proves, top-scoring candidates question assumptions and consider different perspectives. To fix that flawed answer, we annotate the screen with the correct path. The answer should read, while straight-line depreciation is administratively simpler, evaluating the specific nature of these delivery vehicles, which lose value rapidly in their first 2 years, suggests the reducing balance method provides a more accurate matching of expenses to the revenue they generate. Do you see the difference? You are exposing the trap set by the examiners. You must justify decisions with actual, hard evidence from the scenario, not just state generic facts. Finally, let's talk about the absolute worst pitfalls. We are moving to Section 5, where we look at the top 3 examiner traps where candidates bleed marks unnecessarily. In our study suite, Alex and Sam had some massive personal breakthroughs when we reviewed these exact examiner warnings. Alex realized that focusing solely on numbers led to trap number 1, answers that are too vague in the written sections. Examiners demand specific details. You can't just write, "It improves liquidity." You must specify, "It increases the current ratio from 1.2 to 1.5, allowing the firm to cover its short-term payables." Sam's breakthrough was realizing trap number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation under time pressure. But the biggest trap, the one that destroys otherwise perfect papers, is trap number 3, writing answers that are completely generic and totally ignore the specific context of the business provided in the prompt. This lack of specificity is the absolute fastest way to drop an entire grade boundary.
This visual brilliantly illustrates the ultimate examiner alert. Look at the difference. A generic answer is just a memorized textbook definition of a ledger concept. It ignores the stimulus data. A context-specific answer links every single point, calculation, and evaluation directly to the specific business scenario provided. To synthesize this entire masterclass, I want to give you 3 core memorable pillars to take into your exam. First, the 3-step question scan. Always isolate the command word, identify the topic, and note the business type before you write a single number. Second, the paragraph balance formula. For every point you make, provide 1 piece of data from the text and 1 sentence explaining the business impact. And third, the last 5 minutes review checklist. Use the final 5 minutes exclusively to check ledger headings, dates, and balance brought down figures. Never give a generic answer when you can anchor your response to the exact scenario in front of you.
So, the crucial, provocative question you must ask yourself in your very next practice paper is this: are your ledger accounts actually telling the specific, unique story of the business in the prompt, or are you just blindly repeating a textbook? Are you simply reciting theory, or are you strategically deploying critical thinking to secure every single method mark available? Crushing Cambridge exams doesn't happen by accident. It requires consistent, rigorous strategy and expert guidance. If you found this session valuable, I need you to hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams IGCS O and A levels. That is at acetheexam_IGCS. Turn on the notification bell right now so you are first in line for our future exam hacks. And most importantly, leave a comment below with your exact target grade. Put it out there, commit to it, and let's work toward it together. Thank you for joining this Elite Masterclass Explainer, and I will see you in the next session.